This is Michael Popak. I wanted to do some quick reporting on the battle between the United States, well, the Biden administration version of the United States, and TikTok, owned ultimately by the communist Chinese government through a company called ByteDance, because the United States Supreme Court has decided to stick its big fat nose into whether the Biden administration policy that's already been approved by Congress to force TikTok and its platform to get the heck out of the United States and sell to an American or non-Chinese entity, whether that is constitutional or not. Question is whether the Department of Justice and the Biden administration has appropriate grounds, has appropriate rationale centered around data collection of American citizens and propaganda being used on TikTok in order to force the foreign government, in this case the Chinese, to sell its asset operating in the United States. Now, we often regulate investment in foreign companies and foreign company investment in America. So that's not that unusual. And I'm not saying that there aren't some amount of rights that the Chinese government may have. They just don't have First Amendment rights. So what they've tried to argue in a case that's now up at the United States Supreme Court and has now been fully briefed at the United States Supreme Court as of today. We got the brief for the Department of Justice. We've got the brief for the Chinese government, if you will. And we've got an oral argument that's been set for the 10th of January. Why are we moving so quickly here, Popak? Because a federal judge has ruled that unless stopped by the 19th of January, TikTok's parent company, owned by the communist Chinese government, ByteDance, has to sell TikTok, the American version of it, to a non-Chinese owner. Russia won't do either, by the way, to an American owner. And the question is, can they be forced to sell that? And what about their due process rights, if you will? So now we've got Chinese due process rights and First Amendment rights versus the national security interest of America. Now, the Department of Justice, led still by Merrick Garland and Joe Biden, have taken the position, and its Solicitor General have taken the position that the ban, the forced sale, is constitutional and is lawful. And that is mainly because of the data collection, national security implications of data collection on American citizens by a foreign enemy, the Chinese, and the propaganda that is circulated and calculated to impact American minds, brainwash them through TikTok. Now, TikTok fights back and says not that they have a First Amendment right, but that their platform is the conduit for the First Amendment exercised by 140 million Americans. Listen to that number. Out of like 330 million Americans in America, we got 140 that are on some version of TikTok. I've been on there a couple of times. It's not my normal place to be, but I do know what it is. And so they're arguing the First Amendment rights of the 140 million Americans are at risk. They want to use our platform. It's a public square. It is an exchange of ideas. They should be allowed. Of course, they ignore the whole you're also collecting data, because while we're watching TikTok or putting things on TikTok, they're getting metadata about us. We're watching them, they're watching us. And that's the problem when you have a sworn enemy of the United States and our way of life being able to collect data inadvertently. Like when you plug in, what is your favorite color? Where do you like to shop? What are your stores? Where do you live? Who are your children? Who are your parents? Where are your schools? Data collection, data collection, data collection. Or on TikTok, when it leads you to an app to do you want to see what you look like when you get old? Put in a current photo. Here we go. Facial recognition now in the hands of the Chinese. They take all those photos and they use it for a giant database for face recognition and AI technology. Did you know that? Well, I did. So I wanted to report that to you. So you've got this Department of Justice standing up for the values of America to protect Americans from national security threats posed by the Chinese who are using TikTok as a Trojan horse. Get it? And on the other side, you got TikTok saying, we're not doing that. We're not propagandists. We're not trying to brainwash. We're just an app that kids like to use to do dance moves while we're collecting all sorts of data about them secretly and surreptitiously through their cookies and otherwise. They are eating our cookies. That's the problem. So This is now fully briefed before the United States Supreme Court. There's going to be an oral argument, and we'll be able to cover it on the Midas Touch Network and on Legal AF on January the 10th. And a pretty fast ruling, because they have to rule before the 19th. Otherwise, TikTok's out of time. No pun intended. Now, how do I think this is going to play out before the United States Supreme Court? We cover it on a show right here on Legal AF we call Unprecedented, where Dina Dahl and I cover the ins and outs and the comings and goings of the United States Supreme Court. And so at the end of the day, where do I think this is going to end up? I think that even the MAGA right wing is going to be hard-pressed to find that the Chinese are being maligned or having their constitutional rights violated, the Chinese government in particular, about the forced sale. And that I think they're going to find that the Department of Justice has made out their case for why TikTok must go. Now, the problem is, and the wild card here is, Donald Trump has suddenly become enamored, in love with TikTok. One reason is he's got a major investor in all of his campaigns, who's a big TikTok early investor and will reap tons of money and lose tons of money if there is a forced fire sale of TikTok. That and Donald Trump decided that TikTok was a way to get to certain bro voters and other voters to help him win over Kamala Harris. So he now loves TikTok. Ignores completely the brainwashing, propaganda, data collection issues of national security. Donald Trump doesn't care about national security. Has anybody realized that yet? If Mar-a-Lago taught us anything, where Donald Trump retained top secret classified documents in order to use transactionally to either shake down our allies or to keep in his back pocket for whatever purpose, including war plans, he doesn't care about national security. You don't nominate Tulsi Gabbard, who's been rumored to be a Russian-groomed asset, to be the head of your intelligence community and 18 different agencies reporting to her, if you worried about our national security or cared about it. You wouldn't make Pete Hegseth, fresh off the Fox and Friends makeup desk, to be your head of the Pentagon if you worried about national security. I mean, what else can I tell you? So we're going to continue to follow what's going to happen. I'll be online watching the oral argument on the 10th of January and be reporting right back here to you what we think from the oral argument. Dina Dahl and I will report back what we think from the way the oral argument goes, how they're going to rule as the United States Supreme Court. Pro-China or pro-America? So protect American values and protect Americans from being attacked by the Chinese, or support the Chinese? I don't know yet. I'll report on it. Come back here on Legal AF. And while you got a minute, pop back out, hit the free subscribe button, boom, and help us continue to grow this pro-democracy, fair-minded channel on YouTube, completely independent. Now more than ever, we need independent media. And we're glad you're here. We don't have any outside investors. We're completely people-powered. Legal AF powered, Midas Mighty powered, all because of you. So until my next reporting on Legal AF, this is Michael Popak. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.